Professor Joe Bob Briggs here with week number 6 of our summer school session. And what does that mean, class? That means we're beating this thing like a dead Appaloosa, right? For those of you in the accelerated program, tonight's class is cardiovascular and strength conditioning as it pertains to physical fitness. For those of you in the remedial program, PE. You are required to suit up, hunker down, and maintain a grade of D or higher, which actually won't get you diddly, but if you pass the final on the Monstervision website at the end of the summer, you will get this very diploma here, yay, which in turn is good for 3 credit hours at Jefferson Davis Vocational Technical Middle School in Bogalusa, Louisiana. We have 2 training films we'll be showing you tonight. John Carpenter's They Live and the great Immortal Combat, both starring our guest lecturer, Roddy Piper, professional wrestler and fitness expert Roddy Piper, will be arriving shortly at our first break to help me whoop your sorry butts into shape. Right now, we have a bunch of bug-eyed yuppies tunneling around under the ground, and They Live. It's about these outer space ghouls that live underneath L.A. where they make Lee press-on nails commercials and talk to one another through their Rolexes and send out riot squads to bulldoze the homeless. And they're all from the planet Andromeda, which evidently went 99% for Newt Gingrich in the last election. And our only hope for destroying the ghoul satellite dish, which puts everybody to sleep so they can't tell where that they're sitting around in hot tubs with these pus-faced outer space aliens, is Roddy Piper, who just got into town from Denver and happens to be hanging around the shanty town when the ghoul police run through it with clubs and shotguns, killing blind street preachers for cutting into their profit margins. That's all I'm going to tell you about it. Anyway, John Carpenter at his best. The drive-in totals are 2 breaths, extra credit tonight for those who can figure out where those things are, 64 dead bodies, yuppies from outer space, exploding TV studio, one of the most hellacious 2-man brawls ever put on film, National Guard foo, garbage truck foo, and Meg Foster foo. 4 stars, check it out, and we will be here.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and They Live on TNT.
Okay, there's something weird going on in L.A. and Roddy Piper wants to know what it is. Luckily, we have none other than Roddy himself. Professional wrestler, movie star, bagpiper, and he's in the house tonight. Welcome to Monstervision, Roddy.
Thank you very much. Pinnacle of my career. This is it. I don't have to do anything else in the rest of the world. Nothing. Go home to the kids, relax, watch you on Monstervision. You know my kids love you.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not.
Who do you hate this year, and who hates you on these pay-per-view wrestling matches?
Jeepers, everybody.
You don't even remember.
Who hates me right now? I suppose I'm the reason Hogan's got no hair. So I suppose yank that stuff right out of there. I did send him some Viagra, so that ought to help him. So I think he would be the guy that hates me most.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Pro Wrestling Illustrated named you the most inspirational wrestler of the year in 1982 and the most hated wrestler of the year in 1984. Now, how do you go from inspiring to hated in 2 years?
Boy, that's journalism, huh? I'll tell you, I did a thing in Madison Square Garden. I'll tell you how WrestleMania started real quick is I was doing a fight for MTV, Hogan against Piper, and there was lots of celebrities there, make it short. Somebody jumped up on the apron. I stepped over and knocked him out. And there was a blonde that came under the ropes. I stepped over and kicked him. The one I knocked out was Mr. T. The one I kicked was Cyndi Lauper. Complete accident, and no one would believe me. The New York City police...
No one would believe it was an accident?
Nobody believed it was an accident. I was trying to beat this almost blonde-headed guy. And the New York City police came in, they grabbed me, and I just felt an arm. So I hip-tossed them. They don't like that at all. No. And there they were and scrunched up, and that was called the War to Settle the Score. And the promoters then got on the bandwagon and made WrestleMania 1. And that's exactly how it started.
Did you go to jail?
Oh, yeah. How many times? Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think you're the best actor to come out of World Championship Wrestling or any wrestling organization. And maybe it's because that you had life experience, especially for this part that you're playing in the movie tonight, because you were homeless yourself for a while, right?
Yeah. I took it upon myself to leave when I was 13, and I lived on the street, hustling quarters, had a youth hostel. What I used to do is I used to get my bagpipes out, you know. They'd beat me up all the time, you know, because I was just, you know, 13, pimply, and all the spots on the road were taken by tougher guys. And so I'd go down and I'd get my bagpipes and I'd play my bagpipes, and they'd think, this guy's harmless. And I'd get him in the car, and I just continued on playing the bagpipes, and the rest is
You're saying they would leave you alone when you played the bagpipes?
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times,
well, you know, what is that? Doggone it, Martha. I was in Texas playing them when I was 16 in the ring, and, you know, they almost killed me. They didn't understand that. Why is that boy in the dress like that? You know, why is he squeezing that damn animal like that? That's SPCA stuff, man. You know, it's terrible, man.
And it's still kind of your trademark. You still get out the pipes every once in a
Yeah,
while, right?
I was in Wembley Stadium in London, England, and I played for 80,000 people there, Princess Di at that time, and a couple other places, Royal Albert Hall, etc.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you go from being homeless to being a famous wrestler, which must be kind of strange because wrestling fans are strange, aren't they?
I've been stabbed 3 times. I don't know.
You ever wake up in the morning and say, what in the hell am I doing in this business?
I did that this morning. God's truth, the guy in the hotel this morning came with a hammer, or rather a flashlight. Bang, bang, bang. You missed your wake-up call by a half hour. Get out of here. Yeah, well, that's because I'm a little punchy, you know.
Okay, let's get back to the movie. We'll talk some more about this because I don't want to say anything that'll give away the plot yet, but roll the movie.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and They Live on TNT.
Great dialogue in that flick. That last sequence had the greatest line in the movie. You want to do that line for us, Roddy?
I come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
I think
you know, I'll be honest with you, John Carpenter, you know, I'm in sunglasses and a plaid shirt and a shotgun, and I'm walking to a bank. Yeah. He says, I got nothing written, just say something. What do you say? I'm not robbing the bank.
You made that up?
Yeah, right on the spot.
You should be writing these
the reason is,
screenplays.
because I was chewing bubble gum and I spit it out just before I walked in the door, and so I was all out of bubble gum, you know.
That's
and
good.
the next thing I was going to do was kick ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
seems sensible to me, you know. Joe Bob, Billy Bob. I like Petticoat Junction. You just remind those are your sisters, because I want to come home with you. You remember Petticoat Junction? Yeah, and Petticoat Junction.
I didn't get that job, Barney.
You didn't get that. You should have.
I think my favorite line in the movie is, your head looks like it fell into the cheese dip back in 1957. Right?
Yeah, that was,
Did you improvise a lot of stuff in the picture? Does he encourage that?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
No, that's why he loves me so much to this very day. He does, yes. Hi, John, how are you? Yeah, hair any grayer? Yeah, not since I left, huh?
Well, we know you've got the gift of gab because you had that great interview show we used to do on WWF, Piper's Pit.
Piper's Pit, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Was that your idea to do that?
Yeah, made it up in a bar in St. Louis. And Vince McMahon, who at that time was the Mongol of the fight game, I came up to him and I said, just give me 2 minutes and a show over here, because I don't like people to see me wrestle on TV. You want to see me wrestle, you got to pay, because I got to pay the rent. And I change Pampers, too. I got to pay for the Pampers, okay? And so, the first one that we did was just like 3 sheets of cardboard. You know, no expense spared, you know, and 3 sheets of cardboard. You know, it's a nice locker room, just doesn't have the smell yet. It's close, huh? Yeah. And 3 pieces of cardboard, and away I went with it. And it lasted 4 years until I just got tired of doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
you get burned out.
Fondly remembered show. And, but the screenwriter of They Live, I noticed, is listed as Frank Armitage.
Yeah.
But people say that's an alias for John Carpenter. Do you have any insight into that?
They're right.
They're right. For some reason, he didn't want to put his name on the movie.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you get more money that way.
All right, there's one more mystery in this movie. Some of the females on our staff noticed that you're wearing a wedding ring in this movie, but you never mentioned having a wife in the movie. I didn't notice this, Roddy. The females. Don't get the wrong idea.
Well, I saw the other show where you said you weren't gay, so I feel fine.
Okay. But was that like character backstory, or did you just forget to take your ring off, or what?
No, I'll tell you exactly what that is. I've been married 19 years, I got 6 kids, and I'm away from home a lot. And every time I shoot something, unless they disagree with it, I wear my wedding ring. That was why it's kind of a way of telling my wife and my kids that I love them, and I've always done that. And if they insist or if the roll calls for somebody that's a killer maniac or something that's not right, I comply. Otherwise, I just wear it whether they like it or not.
Roddy, that's so sweet. It's going to destroy your image.
Oh no, there's another side to me.
Okay, well, we're getting to the part where Meg Foster shows up, so let's get back to the movie.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and they live on TNT.
All right, that was a great stunt where Meg Foster clubs you over the head with a bottle and you go flying through the plate glass window.
If you weren't doing the flying, it was terrific.
Did you do that stunt?
Yeah.
You do your own stunts?
Yeah, in those days I did. Yeah, but I got smart now.
You don't do them anymore?
Not high falls like that. No, they kill me. But as a matter of fact, when we did that scene, Meg Foster, they had a bottle that she hit me in the back of the head with, you just saw. And she took the bottle and she hit me whack, and it didn't break. This one, okay, that's okay, Meg, that's fine. Just go back and try again, So she went, whack, didn't break. That's fine, Meg. Double! Fine, finally, whoa, and the thing broke, and through the glass we went. But on my way down, I drove my head into the dirt, which caused...
You really did hurt yourself.
Yeah, I hurt myself a little bit on that one, but wow. not much brain damage, but some spinal tap, There was a lot of hiccups in They Live, a lot of tension, a lot of clicks, and here was this jock coming in. I started at, I think, about 240 or 245, and I got down to 205, and Carpenter was spending a lot of time with me at that time, and other people were feeling it, and so I'm not sure that I am one of Meg Foster's best. I don't think there's a calendar of me in Meg Foster's room.
Oh, really?
But hey, Meg, you're great,
Okay.
Excuse me, hair furball.
So she was enjoying that little thing with the bottle, huh?
I think that, yeah, with the bottle, yeah, I think she just go ahead and pick the bottle from behind the bar.
How many times have you been injured in your life?
Oh, jeez. Well, serious, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 serious.
5? What's the worst one you ever got when you were wrestling?
I got a total right hip replacement.
Wow. And you said
I've been stabbed 3 times.
Stabbed?
Yeah, like that. Ha. Yeah.
Just
they,
when
they
you're
went
walking?
like that too. Ha.
When you're walking?
I don't stab a lot of people. I don't know.
What's the worst injury you've inflicted on somebody else?
Oh, I broke a guy's neck.
You broke a guy's neck?
Yeah.
A guy in the ring?
Yeah.
Not a fan?
No, I would have liked to break a few of their necks, but you're lovely people.
You know what kills me that you guys do when you throw each other down flat on your backs from about 10 feet up in the air, and when there's not that much padding on it, how do you land on your back that many times a match?
Well, they say you know how to fall. Not 20 times a night I don't know how to fall, all right? Yeah, you know what it is. There's weekend warriors, and then there's about 60 guys that do it for a living. And you just take the shot. And there's no magic to it. There's no mirrors. You just take the shot, and that's what you get paid for. And you try to save a few dollars if you're not working for Don King, and you go on, And if you don't cut the mustard, then you're selling used cars. And I got a really nice one out there, a green one.
All right. Well, we're about to watch some of the greatest stunt fighting of all time. I don't want to say anything more about it, but we'll talk after we watch the scene, okay? Back to the movie.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and they live on TNT.
All right, is that the greatest fist fight in the history of the movies? That is one hellacious fist fight. I love that fight. That fight goes on for 7.5 minutes of actual screen time. How long did it take to rehearse and shoot that baby?
That fight was actually 5 minutes longer. They edited it down to 7.
It was 12.5.
Yeah. And I tell you, they got the wonderful gentleman, Keith David, really nice man, and he's a dancer. And so John Carpenter told me to take him in his backyard for 3 weeks and teach him how to fight. And usually fighters are really good dancers because of their footwork. But that's not true in reverse.
Oh, okay.
And so I take him down and I'm trying to teach him, okay, this is what we're going to do. And he's hitting me, and he has no idea, but he hits like Ernie Shavers. He's strong as a bull. He has no idea how strong he is. And he's killing me, and he's hitting me, and I'm trying to, finally 3 weeks go by. We go, and we pretty much got it down, and so they got 3-camera shoot, and they want to do it over 3 days. And it got time to shoot the fight scene, and Keith was a little excited because he was a wrestling fan, and he wanted to get in there, and so he was hitting. He was trying to do Hollywood punches, and he would like catch me up the nose there, you know. And, no, that's okay, Keith. Baby, you keep up the good work there. I just you're right with you there, you know.
So he was hurting you.
He was killing me. And so finally, in that fight scene, and preface it by John Carpenter had asked me to watch The Quiet Man by John Wayne. He wanted the longest fight scene in the history of cinema. And there's a fight scene where John Wayne goes all over the place. And so that was my instructions. And finally, during the fight on screen, I just said to Keith, hit me. It's not worth it. You're killing me. You know, these fake Hollywood punches are killing me. So he just went into it, and except for the face, he just went into it and started clubbing away as hard as he could, and we got it all done in one shot there.
Wow. Well, your pro wrestling career certainly paid off with that, because...
Yeah, I'm not sure I can beat him. I know, he was a pretty tough guy.
Keith David, he's done a whole lot of stuff. He was nominated for Tony, as you say, for as a dancer in Jelly's Last Jam on Broadway. Went to Juilliard, did Shakespeare with Christopher Walken. He was in Platoon. He played he was one of the sax players in Bird, and he narrates National Geographic specials, and he does animated cartoon voices, Aladdin and Gargoyles, and
Missy is calling.
Okay, let's get back to the flick. Directed by John Carpenter, the man who turned down Fatal Attraction in favor of working with Roddy Piper and Keith David, who also won the Nobel Prize. That guy, Keith David, he's done everything, right? Do you feel like I do about Renaissance men? They need a good body slam, don't you think?
Yeah, big time.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and they live on TNT.
Well, there's gonna be hell to pay now, because Roddy Piper ain't Daddy's little boy anymore. Somehow, Roddy, I can't imagine you ever being Daddy's little boy. But do you have any idea what supposedly horrible thing these aliens are doing besides telling the Earthlings to obey, sleep, and buy Frappuccinos at Starbucks, or whatever they're telling them to do?
Okay.
You have no idea when you're watching, right? When you're making a movie,
like
you don't
that.
know what's happening.
I've got a clue. Actually, the whole movie, the underthing, the subtext for Carpenter was Reaganomics. And if you notice, all the aliens are wearing Rolexes, and they're all driving BMWs, and they're all driving foreign cars, and so there was this
all the success symbols of the Reagan era.
Exactly, and so Carpenter, at the end of the movie, you know, I'm here on a green card. I'm not allowed to vote. I've been in this country for years.
Because you're Canadian.
Canadian, British Empire. And I didn't know anything about Reaganomics, you know, didn't really want to. And he wanted me to go out and tour and talk about Reaganomics and what it's doing to the country, you know, and I kind of liked Mr. Reagan. You know, I thought he was an okay guy, you know, he's a cowboy, and he done, what did he say? He done tore down that wall, you know, with Brezhnev or whatever. And so that's where we had a little bit of a rub, where I wasn't in it for a political gain. I was in it to try to advance my
So you didn't
career.
promote the movie?
I promoted the movie, but I wouldn't get into the politics of it.
You have made 17 movies, last I counted.
You think I'd catch on, huh?
We'll return now to the first of our phys ed films, They Live. Roll it.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and they live on TNT.
You know, Roddy, I've been watching wrestling on TNT for a long time.
No, don't even go there. Don't even go there.
There's something I've always wanted to do.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, no, it's not what you think.
Okay. I got to change your pamper?
No. I want to do the in-your-face, direct-to-the-camera pay-per-view challenge. And while I'm on this subject, Roddy, why is it always a pay-per-view match you guys are always screaming about? You know, May 23rd, Charlotte Coliseum. You know, guys who can't even remember where they parked their car, they can remember May 23rd, Charlotte Coliseum.
Where, when, and how.
All right, now give me a tip. What's the secret to an effective direct-to-camera pay-per-view challenge?
Well, I'll tell you, why don't you try one, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, but when you challenge a guy, do you really know what you're talking about, or do you just, or do you just get carried away with screaming?
No, I don't scream as much as I try to say real, rip your lungs out and rip your eyes out. That's illegal. I try to keep it in the realm of what's going on and keep it contemporary, and there's a rhythm to it with a little sexual sublimation and some subtext.
Watch this.
Okay.
Roddy Piper, I got a message for you. May 23rd, Charlotte Coliseum. How was that? That wasn't mean enough.
Hang on.
All right,
Lighten up a bit.
All right.
Well, what's your opponent's name?
No, wait. Let me try to get it.
Okay. All right.
It's you. Okay.
It's mine. Would you mind mentioning me?
Okay. I said it. I said Roddy Piper.
Okay.
Listen.
All right.
Roddy Piper, I got a message for you. May 23rd, Charlotte Coliseum, and you got cooties. Is that better?
Well,
that's a general idea, right?
Roddy Piper? Hey, where do you come from, right?
All right. One more time.
Okay,
then we'll get back to the movie.
What was that? I got
Roddy
cooties?
Piper. All right, you don't like me saying it like that.
No, well, come on,
it's
put a little up.
It's a southern promotion. I'm from Texas.
Okay.
Damn, man. Roddy Piper, I got a message for you. May 23rd, Charlotte Coliseum. I'm going to rip you up like a 2-bit rag doll and feed you to a bulldog.
All right.
That was better.
That was great, yeah.
It's the simile that makes it work, right?
Sure.
Or metaphor. It's a simile.
I wrestle. I don't have a clue what a simile is. You can tell I'm so tough. I stepped on my dog's tail. Dog died. You know.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you did well.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs, and they live on TNT.
All right, Joe Bob Briggs and Roddy Piper are still here. It's hanging out on Monstervision, and the message of that movie is, all right, they're different, let's kill them. And in the end, our hero exposes the remaining aliens by destroying their hypnotic transmitter. You didn't really seem to get the moment of glory that Arnold Schwarzenegger got in Terminator 2 with his thumbs up from the pool of molten lead.
Well, you know what they did on that last shot there where all the fireworks are going off and I boom, I come down and I shoot the satellite. The guy, all day he's been talking about pirate, big guy. You know, the bigger they are. Stop, Rod. I've been doing this for 20 years. And what they did is they put 5 hits on me and they put them on backwards. So they exploded into me. And yeah, so what you saw there, the pain in my face was real. And that's just what happened. I want to clear something up with Carpenter, though. Carpenter is a great director. He was smart enough to keep me in a box so I didn't go over the top. And he did a good job.
That's a great performance in that movie.
That's
Terminator 2, 1991, right?
Yep.
They Live, 1988. Kind of the same story, right? Directed by trendsetter John Carpenter. And by the way, next week is Sex Ed night here at Joe Bob Summer School.
Can I come back?
Yeah, you can come back.
Thank you very much.
We'll be showing...
I'll just be in the closet there.
We'll be showing Poison Ivy featuring Spicy Babe, Drew Barrymore, and Poison Ivy 2 with the equally spicy Alyssa Milano. And our guest lecturer next week is Nancy Friday. She's the author of those SEX books. They're the ones you found in your mom's nightstand drawer. I don't know if you ever read those, Roddy.
Meanwhile, National Geographic was my big.
Oh, okay. Roddy Piper is sticking around with us for our next flick, Immortal Combat, a sensitive romantic tale about ancient Mayan steroid monster zombie kung fu killers living in a Caribbean jungle where they are being trained to become the new Iraqi army.
Thank you, Bob Joe.
Sure, we've seen that before, right? But have we seen it with Roddy Piper in a starring role and with Meg Foster sleeping with all the steroidal warriors before they're chased down, executed, and restored to life with voodoo drugs? I think not. I don't think we've seen that. Roddy, where was this movie actually shot?
In Villahermosa, Mexico, right on the border of Guatemala.
See, why can't we shoot this show in some Club Med spot like that? Was that a nice place to work?
Oh, it was horrible.
Horrible.
Oh, yeah. I hate snakes, especially the well-dressed kind, you know. Yeah.
But you had problems down there?
Problems? Are you kidding me? She goes, Rod, back up just down that jungle path, just a little more in the jungle. Did you see that, Sammy? That gringo's stupid enough to come down here. You know, I had a ball.
Somebody told me the locals almost killed your bodyguard.
Yeah, they hung him.
They hung him?
They hung him, yeah. Well, the well hung. He got pulled up on the rope, and what happened. It's a long story, but he said...
Why do you have a bodyguard? How tough does that guy have to be?
It's more a convenience, you know. People are pretty nice to me. They don't mean no harm, but every once in a while you get a guy with alcohol guts, and I don't want to get sued.
Oh, and so the other guy beats him up.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. And then I call him an independent contractor, like promoters call me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How many wrestlers worked on this flick? Because I remember Tiny Lister shows up here.
Yeah, but Tiny Lister's not a wrestler. He did that No Holds Barred with Hogan, but he's mainly an actor.
Okay.
And as far my bodyguard, he's a boxer.
So you're the only wrestler.
Yeah, I'm the only wrestler on
All right.
Mortal Kombat.
Well, let's do those drive-in totals, and when we'll get to it. 30 dead bodies, 2 breasts. We won't be showing those, unfortunately, in the TNT version. Neck snapping, sword fighting, killer Chippendale dancer, headbutting, throwing stars to the forehead, dart to the head, throat ripping, flaming Mayan, and that is not a cocktail, 15 kung fu scenes, 3 stars. Check it out, and we'll be here with Roddy Piper the whole way through.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Roddy, I think you're even better in this flick. Did you study acting at all?
God bless you.
Did you study acting between They Live in this movie?
I studied acting before They Live, but this one I just won. winging a prayer.
I can't understand a single word Sonny Chiba is saying. You must have had to learn your lines straight through, because from what I can make out, he just talks gibberish. Were there times you had to stop filming and say, Sonny, what? What are you saying?
He was studying English real hard and wanted to break through as an American actor. He's quite a big name in Japan. And so he was taking speech lessons at the time. That means he had to go to the bathroom. And he would have an interpreter there, and he would go through it. But his acting ability, you know, he had so much experience that he was right there. If just the words could come up.
He just couldn't say the words.
Yeah, well, there's marbles, you know.
There's one thing I always wondered. Is the headbutt an official kung fu move? Because you see it in these movies.
Yeah, that's something I use a lot. It's just real convenient, quick, and satisfactory. It's kind of like a little sex, you know?
Well, we're going to watch Roddy kick some more butt, and we're going to watch Sonny sit in the Japanese samurai temple with his sword and grimace a lot. And Roddy will try and explain all that at the next break. So roll the movie. I think Meg Foster...
You like Meg, don't you?
I like Meg.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But I think she looks a lot like that actress, Kirstie Alley. Well, actually, I think Kirstie Alley looks like a man dressed up like Meg Foster. All right?
Well, can I work on that on the break? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Watch the movie, okay? We're working on that.
All right.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Did you notice that both Immortal Combat and They Live have little nods to the gay guys? You know, is it? In that last one, we had Meg Foster's nosy neighbors in their coordinated Hawaiian shirts, right? And here in this one, you have Hotel Boy making eyes at your chest. You know, was doing that scene a little uncomfortable at all?
I've been wearing a kilt since I've been 5, man.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Come on,
you get that on.
There you go, baby. You happy? All right, I'm out of here. You know?
Well, after all these years, you have to have done so many fights that I dare you to remember some of the promotions you've done, all right? Okay. There got to be fans that come up to you and say, hey, I remember that time you wrestled that guy and he gouged your eye. You have no idea what they're talking about, right?
No, not a clue. I'd tell you how much time we got.
We got a minute.
We got a minute? I'll tell you, one time, I'm about 17, 18 years old. I'm finished the night before, and the promoter says to me, tomorrow you're fighting the Bear, some guy named Bear Man. Yeah. Boom, I'm out. Come back the next day. It's in Fresno, California. I go up, and in a cage, is this bear. It's a black bear, and it's named Victor. This is God's truth.
A real bear?
No, a bear. A guy with a bear suit on. Yes, a real
you
bear.
Said some guy named Bear.
Well, that's what I thought. He said the bear, so I wasn't nervous about it because I thought some guy named Bear, right? But it was a bear. And so this it gets out of the cage and comes up, and it's got no teeth out here, no toothless. It's got a muzzle on. His claws are declawed. And they tell you don't hit the bear because he hits you back. You're not in good shape. And so they give the bear a pint of wild turkey. The bear goes, and just drops it. Then they give him a Coke. Boom, drops it. Now the bear is ready to wrestle. I'm looking at this. So you got to be kidding me, man. No, listen, just go in there and just... So I have a buddy of mine, God bless you, Jay York. He's not with us anymore. And he slaps me in the bum. He says, go get him, man. Yeah, go get him. Yeah. All right. So I get out there, and what the trainer does, he hits the bear in the back, and the bear gets up, and you're supposed to get underneath and snatch onto the bear. And I get underneath, and you get underneath? Just relax, Joe Bob.
I'm the bear.
You're the bear. And I get underneath. No, I'm the bear. And the bear all of a sudden, and he goes around behind. And the guy had slapped me with honey in the bum. Well, the bear was out for a lunch. Hey, boo-boo, let's get some picnic basket. Now, this bear decided he was going to have lunch, and I'm screaming and hitting and pulling fur. And by this time, people were crying. They were laughing so hard. And 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, now they're going, oh, come on, get the bear off the kid. And I had to come in, dart the bear, and get him off me. It's a true story.
And how much did they pay you for that?
$25. Boy, I had a stuntman.
You have had a life, I tell you.
Yeah, not a good one.
Well, the perky Kim Morgan Green is Karen Keeler in this movie, who looks cute in that hat and even better in that bath towel. And I have a feeling she's going to be the romantic interest since she hates you so much right now. So am I onto something there?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. You
All right,
watch the
let's
movie.
check it out. Roll the movie.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Before we go any further, I really want to know who that stuntman was who did that barbed wire scene for you.
It was me. For me, with these directors, Dan Nero directed this. Nice guy, but first-time director, and it's like, Rod, hop over the barbed wire. Rod, jump in the river. And so they had me a Jeep, the Jeep that I was on. They said, we had to borrow the Jeep, don't hurt the Jeep. What about me?
It looked painful, Roddy.
It was right there.
We're back with Roddy Piper, ladies and gentlemen, and Sonny Chiba sitting in the samurai temple and cutting his own arm, Pretty soon we're going to see some serious Japahino chopsaki. And that southern accent, you were making fun of my accent before. I know you were. That southern accent you just did in the movie when pretending to be Kim Morgan Green's husband for the third or fourth time. Do you have a dialect expert coach you on that accent, Roddy?
No, I'll take the heat for that. That was horrible.
All right. Well, speaking of accents, we got a scene coming up where the writers gave Sonny Chiba all this dialogue again. He tells his daughter this whole flashback story, and his Japanese accent is so thick you can't understand a word he's saying. But, like you say, he's a good actor. He makes a great scene out of total incomprehensibility. We don't know what he says, and we don't need to know. So let's go. Roll it. When you went over that barbed wire fence, though, did you at least wear a cup?
No.
You're a wrestler. You always wear a cup, right? I always wear a
No,
cup
I
on
just-
this show. I have a cup on right now. I wear a cup.
I drink straight from the bottle.
And a condom. I always wear a condom.
Yeah. With your cup.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Kim Morgan Green. She is hot. Do you agree? How much did you learn about Kim in the water there?
34, 20. No, I learned that she's a very nice gal. Very nice gal, and has a wonderful way about her. It's very sensuous, loving.
Yeah. Did you get along?
Yeah, got along good with her.
Yeah, I'm not believing a word you're saying.
You're cornering me, man. I got 6 kids.
Your face gives away a lot.
I know. I can't lie. We're dog, man. Yes, I got along. Kim, I got along fine with Kim. She's a really nice lady. We never had any confrontations whatsoever, and she's a fine actress. And
all right, we believed you that time.
did you? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I guess it must have been a nice break from all the fight sequences, to do those little romantic
yeah.
scenes. And but it's a little odd to me that there's so many ninjas in the Caribbean. Normally you'd expect something a little more Latin in Mayan country than ninjas, like banditos or Colombian drug dealers or something. Who are those guys? Why are there so many ninjas?
They're in search of sushi bars. And because they're ninjas, they could swim that far. Ninjas were, I don't know why the hell they're there.
Why was they were Sonny Chiba's friends?
Yeah, they were
weren't
Sonny Chiba's friends.
Okay.
And they came over, and he's got a whole school of ninjas, just ninjas all over the place.
And you love them, don't you? Why was this movie originally called Resort to Kill?
Because the Meg Foster resort that they had where they were giving the injections to these guys was a resort.
But it must have tested bad under Resort to Kill, so they changed it to Immortal Combat or something.
Well, I'd assume that, yeah. Resort
Okay.
to Kill wasn't going nowhere.
All right, let's go back to Immortal Combat. Roll the film. How many movies have you done, Roddy, with Mayan zombies, Japanese samurai warriors, ninjas, American cops, weird Caribbean natives that stare at the camera a lot and hand out necklaces, Chippendale dancer serial killer on jungle steroids, and Meg Foster the Ice Queen who says, "When I close my eyes, all men are the same."
Babe, I've done one where I fell in love with a toad. This was an uplift for me.
Oh,
Don't mention
Hell
it.
Comes to Frogtown.
Thank you very much.
We love that movie here.
Yeah, you just put the bag over your head.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
So we have Meg Foster getting romantic with Kim Morgan Green and some scientist in a dungeon trying to explain what the heck's going on.
You
But
have such a
I don't
unique
understand it, We got Roddy Piper here who plays the hero, John Keller, is your name in the movie, right?
Yes, John.
Are we missing scenes? Are there scenes missing? Are there scenes where we see him shoot up the dead studs with cortisone and bring them back to life?
No, no, you're not missing any scenes. There was a few things missing in the movie, but
Well, I'm not sure who's a zombie and who's not.
that's a trick.
We got scenes coming up where Tiny Lister acts really strange.
Yeah,
but I hadn't noticed.
they had to
I
inject
don't
him.
think he ever got killed or brought back to life.
No, but they chased him. They chased Tiny. Remember?
Oh, okay.
And so they
we're
got to
supposed
chase
to
him.
assume that they killed
Yeah.
him and then
Well,
shot
what
him
it
up
is,
with
you get
cortisone.
the adrenaline up as hard as you can get it up. This
I know
really-
that part.
okay, you
I
know
understood
then
that.
Pop, you know.
Okay,
B12.
but I didn't see him rise from the dead or anything.
You didn't. Well, he's a night guy.
Okay, never mind that. All right, since it's phys ed night, let me ask you, what do you bench, by the way?
I don't know. I bench about 450.
450.
That's not that.
And how much do you weigh?
About 225 right now.
So you bench double your weight. Are you one of those all-protein?
I wrestle. 2 goes into 2. Yeah.
Are you one of these all-protein all the time guys? Where you can eat 5 bacon cheeseburgers for lunch as long as the ketchup doesn't have sugar in it.
No, I gotta watch my weight real close. Sushi. Eat lots of sushi.
You do not.
I do. Am I lying again? I do eat sushi. I got that lying look on my face.
All right, coming up is one of my favorite scenes where Kim Morgan Green knocks a guy out using her tennis shoes.
Pardon me. You'd have to say that, didn't you? Trivia question. I can't give you the answer, but maybe you can figure it out. We're there, and the mosquitoes are terrible. So there's a doctor, and if he gives you a B12 shot, it keeps the mosquitoes away. So there's somebody in this movie, he ran around to give a B12 shot.
I know who he is. Save it till the
next.
next break.
Okay.
Save it till the next break, because they're going to see that guy.
Well, I don't want them to know.
We're also going to see a scene where you can't understand anything Sonny Chiba is saying once again. And should I ask? Here's another thing, Roddy.
Go.
Why are there random shots of you guys driving your Jeep through a cornfield? What is that about?
Well, it's between sets. Sonny wanted to drive the Jeep.
Do I get to drive the Jeep?
Exactly.
Oh.
Do I get to drive Jeep? and on that turn, we almost lost it on that particular turn. Went into the cornfields, and then in the cornfields, the road ended, so the Jeep ended. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a simple explanation.
Produced, directed, and co-written by Daniel Nera, which you mentioned before, Dan Nera. I can't find a single other movie credit for this guy.
Well,
of course, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award for Immortal Combat alone.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar,
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Whoa, that Chippendale dancer guy. Where did they find that guy? Where'd they get him? Tell that B12 story.
There was one person in the cast.
We know who it is. It's a Chippendale dancer guy.
Well, they went to give these B12. I'm going to get in so much trouble, man. B12 shots, because B12s keep mosquitoes away, and so they go in and give the B12 shot in the bum, and it's all silicone. And he's got silicone in the bum, and he got silicone in
the guy shoots his butt up with silicone.
Well, the doctor, yeah.
The doctor shoots his butt up with silicone.
But he's trying to go, no. And the doctor, he's like, oh, amigo,
It's like implants. He's got implants.
Well, I don't want to, I don't know. I wasn't there, but a nice ass,
Let's just talk about something else, okay?
Okay,
if I'm getting an implant, it's not going to be in my buns. I'm not getting any.
Where would you get an implant?
It was a figure of speech.
Sorry.
That was a great scene, though, where Kim Morgan Green disarms the shotgun-toting security guard by smacking him upside the head with her tennis shoes.
But it was an Air Jordan, it was one of those real spiky ones.
What's your favorite movie of all the movies you've made?
I liked...
It's a tough question, Rod.
I think I like Jungle Ground.
Jungle Ground, I like that movie, too. What do you think is the worst movie you've ever made?
Well, we're watching one of them. And, the other would be probably Body Slam or Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Hell Comes to Frogtown. I like Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Well, there was a scene I was doing. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but there was a scene I was doing in Hell Comes to Frogtown, it's God's truth. Sitting there and I'm doing the premiere, and my wife doesn't know anything about all the escapades and could have cut the air with a knife. And so... what was I talking about? I'm punching you in the neck.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah, but why was I telling you that?
I don't know, Rod.
Let's keep going. I'll bring it up next break. I'll remember it.
Okay. You're doing movies, you're doing wrestling, you're doing pay-per-view events.
Video games.
And you got a family. How many kids do you have?
I got 6 kids.
You got 6 kids? You are the man. Even though you wear a kilt. And,
even though I wear a kilt.
You still wear that kilt?
Yeah.
You don't do that. That's from the past, right?
Well, I wear it I'm going into battle, like going into the ring.
Let's get back to Immortal Combat, starring the only guy I know who wears
a kilt.
I was going to
Kilt
call
goes
it
this way.
I was going to call it a skirt.
Yeah, but you knew
Roddy Piper, roll it. I don't really get. Tell me this. Why do they still wear kilts, even in Scotland? We don't go around wearing pilgrim hats and knee socks and those giant buckles on our shoes and everything. We recognize that trend is over.
No, but you know why they had kilt in the plaid? you know why?
Why?
Because during battle, after battle was finished, they didn't have to carry, you see...
I understand
wait
in
a second.
1647.
Okay, yeah, but wait a second. You guys carry 25 pounds of stuff on your back. All they do is bring the kilt up, pin it, bring the plate over, and they're at 9-9.
I understand, but you don't need it at the mall.
Depends what you're going to the mall for.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
There's always that scene where the bad guy has a gun pointed at the good guy and the gun goes off, but it's really the other good guy killing the bad guy from behind. But you don't always see the scene done with a dart to the head, as they did in this movie. How do they do that special effect with a dart to the head?
They backwards, yeah, in the head, shoot the film backwards.
Oh, okay. I never thought of that. All right, before we
That's
watch...
why I wear a kilt. You know? Listen, when you have sex, what do you have to do?
It doesn't involve a kilt.
When
It doesn't
I-
involve any costume.
Wait a second. When I have sex, all I got to go is like this.
Well,
There's a lot of intelligence to a
I'm not
Scotsman.
that quick, Roddy. we're not going to go there, okay?
Sorry, I'll
You'll-
stop right
you'll-
now.
You'll
I
regret
apologize.
it if we go there.
I apologize.
Before we watch Roddy Piper
You
try
see
to
me
burn...
in the shower.
Before we watch
Yes.
Roddy try to burn and or decapitate the zombie ninjas in the stunning conclusion of tonight's movie, tell us what you're doing next. I wanted to mention that.
I'm shooting a trilogy right now.
For TNT.
For TNT, yes.
Hard
Keep It in
Time.
the Family, Hard Times, and the second one is Premonition with a really good guy, Burt Reynolds.
And you're going to be in all three movies.
Yeah, the character's being developed through the first one. He was just kind of a lunkhead, and he comes around, and he's going to be Burt's partner. And they're really treating me nice. The one thing about it is in trying to establish an acting career, you're only as good as the people around you.
You're only as good as Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Thanks a lot there, Joe Bob Joe. You know, really. Yeah, I know what to do with frogs, baby.
TNT's going to make you famous. Right?
Give me a frog, I'm a happy lad. You know, some Schlitz malt liquor and for the frog. You know, let me pet your bumps.
Rod.
All right,
Thanks
I'll shut
for
up.
coming by. We'll see you later.
Oh, let me stay.
September 7th,
Yes.
Charlotte Coliseum. I don't know where we'll see you next. Well, one of those places.
You
Salt
betcha.
Lake City.
Salt Lake City, yeah.
Wherever.
We only do
and
the
now
big
the
ones.
full-bore Kung Fu finale of Immortal Combat. Go. Appreciate you being here, Ryan.
My pleasure.
But in the future, stay away from the kilt. We've seen that, all right?
Six
One
kids,
thing when you
I
wear
have
those
to.
spandex leotards in the ring, you know, wrestlers wear those. You're going to end up dodging gay guys if you keep this up.
6 kids, I'm way over the hill there.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Immortal Combat on TNT.
Well, that kind of ticks me off. You don't really get to see Meg Foster die at the end of the movie. Because you know that guy in the fire suit, the signature killer, guy who gets set on fire by Roddy Piper? Well, that guy runs over and he gives Meg Foster a hug while he's on fire and they die together. She's incinerated by her own creation. But I guess the hug was just a little too much for the TNT censors. Dang, you know. At least they left it in that killer red dress that Kim Morgan Green wears in that final scene. Yowza. Whoa, Kim Morgan Green. Girlfriend of the director, Dan Nera. How do I know that? I wonder how I found that out. I want to thank Roddy Piper for being here tonight. And once again, next week is Sex Ed Night here at Joe Bob Summer School with Poison Ivy 1 and Poison Ivy 2 and Sexpert Nancy Friday. Bring a number 2 pencil and a tray of ice cubes. That's it for me, Joe Bob Briggs, reminding you that all things being equal, fat people use more soap. Did you hear the one about the butcher who notices there's a dog in his butcher shop? And so he goes over to shoo the dog away, and he sees that the dog has a note in his mouth. And he looks at the note, and the note says, "Can I have 12 sausages and a leg of lamb, please?" And the dog also has some money in his mouth. So the butcher takes the money, and he puts the sausages and the lamb in a bag, and he puts it in the dog's mouth. Well, it's closing time, so the butcher decides he wants to see what the dog's going to do, so he decides to follow the dog. Oh, off the dog goes. He's walking down the street. Dog comes to an intersection with a crosswalk. Dog jumps up, presses the button to cross the street, and he waits, bag still in his mouth, for the light to turn green. The butcher follows him across the crosswalk to a bus stop. Dog looks at the timetable for all the buses, then he sits down on the bus bench to wait. Along comes the bus. Dog walks around to the front of the bus, looks at the number on the bus, goes back, sits back down on the bus bench. Another bus comes. Again, the dog goes, looks at the number, sees it's the right bus. He climbs onto the bus. The butcher's amazed, so he follows him. He gets on the bus too. The bus travels through town, out into the suburbs. The dog's looking out the window at the scenery. Eventually, the dog gets up and he moves to the front of the bus, stands on his two back legs, and he pushes the button that tells the bus driver to stop the bus. And then he gets off the bus, still has the groceries in his mouth. The dog and the butcher, they walk along the road. The dog turns up a walkway to a house. He drops the groceries on the porch, and he rings the doorbell on the house with his paw. The butcher keeps watching. This big man opens the door, and he sees the dog, and he starts beating the dog. And the butcher runs up, and he stops the guy, and he says, "What the hell are you doing? This dog is a genius. He could be on TV, for God's sake." And the guy responds, "Genius my ass. This is the second time this week he's forgotten his key." Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. What do you get when you mix Viagra and Rogaine? Don King.